Would you mind turning up the heat a little bit?
Can I get you a blanket, sweater, anything?
No, I'm perfectly all right.
Can I get you anything at all?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
I don't want to leave.
And if you don't, what then? I think that we have carried this flirtation with disaster, or whatever you want to call it, as far as we can without...
Without what?
Without crossing the line. Without doing anything irrevocable. I think we've both been... Is testing the word? Each wondering if the other feels the same way. All the signs seem to point to yes. So the question is, what are we going to do with that information? What do we want to do? And I don't think we know.
Speak for yourself.
Your wife comes home soon.
I'm well aware of that.
Well, if a mad fling was what we wanted, don't you think we would have had it by now? It's like we're amateur thieves and we've managed to pick the lock of the jewelry store. Now we're standing there wondering if we should rob the place.
Well, if a mad fling is what you thought I wanted, then perhaps it's time to reassess my intentions.
Your intentions are constantly on my mind.
Why don't you ask me what they are?
Because I'm not sure I believe you. We don't really know each other even after all this. I mean, we tell each other things that we don't tell anybody else. But when I hear you spoken about by the people who know you best, it always shocks me.
Why is that?
That I could be so blind about you and want it to stay that way. And before it was for selfish reasons. You were good to me. Good for me in my recovery, and that's all that mattered. But now...
And, who are these people who know me best? I'm at a loss to think of anyone outside of this room who fits that description.
Your greatest ambition, your fondest hope, since before I knew you, and maybe even now, was to destroy Luke Spencer and his family. That's why I'm in this wheelchair right now. That's why we are in this room together right now. And I'm assuming that's why you married Bobby Spencer. So a man who does that is one of two things. He can be monstrous and evil and selfish. And if that's the case, then I know exactly what your intentions are.
And they would be?
To keep me quiet. The bullet that compacted my spinal nerves only shot out of Luke Spencer's gun because you were trying to frame him. I say that. And you go to prison. So naturally, you would want to string me along and keep me starry-eyed and sympathetic.
Now I hear it. You have been talking to Luke. You've been listening to Luke.
I've been listening to everyone. And of course, Luke would say that I am putting my life in danger by saying this to you.
Well, if I were the man he says I am, then yes, you would be.
Well, obviously, I'd rather believe that you're not. And I think that there's another explanation. I'm no saint. I know that there's something to be said for the pleasures of getting even. But this revenge that you want on Luke seems never ending. It could be you feel morally entitled to it. Some overwhelming reason gives you every right. Maybe the pain Luke caused you is never ending too.
The man was directly responsible for the death of my father and my brother.
And I know that there are two sides to every story, and you were smart enough to know that too. I've heard you speak about your father and your brother, and you had no place for them in your life. In fact, you only felt contempt for...
They were my family! Whatever I might have felt for them, they had no right to die at the hands of my peasants.
Not love. It was not enough to account for the endless hatred you have. Maybe Luke took away the only thing that you truly loved. It was Laura, wasn't it?
divided my family from the moment we knew she existed. Yes, it was appalling that my brother kept her by force. But she used him as well. And me. She abandoned her firstborn son as an infant, rejected him as a young man. She practically destroyed Nicholas with the pretense of having gone to her grave unreconciled with him. You should know that as well as anyone.
Were you in love with her?
Yes.
For many years, I gather.
I loved Laura more than anyone I ever loved in my life. But I allowed myself to see her as she preferred to see herself, as a hapless victim of circumstance. I excused her failings, as she did. But no more. After what her last escapade did to Nicholas, my eyes were opened. I feel nothing for her but loathing.
Disgust? Hatred? I see. And I understand. And I wonder if you understand, too. Because if you feel any of those things for Laura, you are far from over her.
Luke's. Oh, yeah. That's him, Mr. Subtlety. Did he come in yet? Okay, I'll beat him there. Can you watch things for a little while?
Something up?
Yeah, I gotta poke a snake with a stick.
Well, I see you're in somewhat of a soothsaying mood again tonight, but this time you couldn't be more wrong. I am completely over Laura Spencer.
You think that you can control everything. You can make a whole town eat out of your hand. You can bring Luke Spencer's sister to her knees. You can make the woman that you paralyzed believe that you're her salvation. But you cannot make yourself feel the way that you want to. Can you? And you hate that.
Nicholas will be waiting.
There's something else you should know before you go. I am not afraid of you. When I am being entirely sensible, I think I should at least be cautious. But when something happens to you like this and you're not sure if you're going to walk again or even if you want to live, a certain kind of fear just goes away.
Given all the things you think I am, you're either very brave or very foolish.
Maybe I'm both. Good night.